What's going on, guys? It's Greeny, and I know it's been a long time since my last upload. I've been extremely busy lately, but I'm back here with a new series that you have all been suggesting for some time now. As many of y'all know, I ran in tournaments on my MLB Guess the Player Instagram about the best players for each position. There were a lot of choices that my followers made that I disagreed with, as you will see throughout this series. So I'm going to be giving my opinion for each matchup, and I'll give my choice for who shall advance. We're going to be starting with first baseman, so let's get started right now. First off, we have Freddie Freeman versus Matt Mervis. This one's obviously Freddie Freeman, as he's clearly a top first baseman in the sport, and no disrespect to Mervis, but this one easily goes to Freeman. Matt Mervis has barely played so far in his career, and has not been good when he's on the field. No surprise, I'm on the same page as you guys. Ty France versus Spencer Torkelson is a super intriguing matchup. Ty France has been a solid first baseman for some years now, but has been slowing down lately, while Torkelson was a premier prospect that is starting his career. France had a solid 2022, but has struggled in 2023, while Torkelson started slow in 2022, but broke out in 2023 with over 30 home runs. This was really close, but I'm actually going to disagree with my followers here, and even as a Mariners fan, I'm going to select Spencer Torkelson. Chris Bryant used to be a superstar in the game, but ever since he went to the Rockies, he has fallen off hard. Tristan Casas has been an incredible player since making his debut, making this an easy choice for Casas, and you guys think the same as well. Ryan Noda was a bright spot on a horrible A's team last year, as he demonstrated great on-base skills and solid power, but he's just not on Vladdy's level. Now, while the 2023 sets were surprisingly not too far apart from each other, Vladdy has a much better track record and potential. No disagreement here, you guys selected Vladdy as well. Jose Abreu has been a disaster for the Astros since he signed with Houston back in 2023 and was so bad to start 2024, he got sent down to the minor leagues. Meanwhile, Goldie won MVP back in 2022, and while he fell off just a little, at this point anybody is better than Abreu. Another one that we agree on. Lamont Wade Jr. and Rhys Hoskins are two very solid players, and a lot of their stats are similar. Lamont Wade Jr. offers better on-base skills while sacrificing some power, while Hoskins offers more power and slugging. It was close, but I'm leaning towards advancing Hoskins, while agreeing with the followers again. Let's not waste any time here, huge disagreement here of my followers. The only explanation for why Rizzo advanced in my opinion is just the Yankee bias. Josh Naylor has quietly been a premier offensive first baseman lately, and he wiped Rizzo in basically every offensive category last season. And Naylor has not slowed down one bit, as he's been a huge contributor to the Guardians' early success this season. Can't believe Rizzo beat Naylor. Big Meat Pete will easily advance here against Joey Meneses. Meneses hits for a decent average, but that's about it for him. Pete is a top power bat in the sport, as he slugged 46 home runs last year and is having a solid start to 2024. Back in agreement with the followers for this one. Moving on to the other side of the bracket, we have Matt Olson versus Jake Bauers. Matt Olson is a clear pick here. It's pretty hard to be better than a player who hit 54 home runs, a near 1,000 OPS, and a 7.4 WAR last season. And it's just absolutely insane he wasn't even top 3 in NL MVP voting last season. Of course, we agree again. Both Alex Kirilloff and Jeimer Candelario are pretty solid offensively, but Jeimer Candelario is the clear choice here. Candy has a better track record, and he had a really solid season last year. Doesn't do anything too crazy, but is a great player to have, which you guys agree with. Nolan Schanuel had a very interesting start to his career, as he had his crazy long on-base streak, but that's basically all he has to offer so far. He doesn't hit for power at all, and most of his hits are just singles. Great on-base percentage, however. Nathaniel Lowe is just a more complete player, as he has been a solid offensive first baseman for some time now. We both agreed that Lowe advances. Ryan O'Hearn was a really good pickup for Baltimore, as he became a great player with them after struggling in Kansas City. However, Christian Walker has become a top first baseman in the game and will advance. Walker has great power, slugging, and defense. On a good streak of agreements here. Yandy Diaz, who has tree trunks as biceps, broke out big last season. With arms like that, you would think he has some crazy power, but he only hit 22 home runs last season. But his real game is his ability to get on base at an elite level while also hitting for a great average. Despite a semi-low home run total, his slugging was good and actually brought his OPS to the mid-900s. He is easily better than Andrew Vaughn, as you guys agree. Now we have Jake Cronenworth versus Vinny Pasquantino. Cronenworth was a solid player from 2020 to 2022, but took a large step back in 2023. Meanwhile, Vinny Pasquantino made his debut in 2022 and was really good. He had great on-base skills and good slugging. He missed most of 2023 with an injury, but with Cronenworth taking a step back and the Pasquatch returning from injury, I'm going to select Vinny to move on. I disagree with you guys on this one. Ryan Mountcastle versus Josh Bell was actually much closer than I thought. Last season, Josh Bell put up better counting stats in more games, while in less games, Mountcastle had better rate stats. When factoring in 2022 as well, Bell had slightly better stats when combining both seasons. But in less games, Mountcastle has put up more WAR than Bell over the last 2 seasons. Bell is struggling to start the year while Mountcastle is doing pretty good. I think I'm going to agree with you guys here and select Ryan Mountcastle to move on. For the final matchup of round 1, we have Rowdy Tellez versus Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper is the clear pick here as he is a top player in baseball, but I do just love Rowdy Tellez. In making this pick, I figured out that Rowdy has almost 10 more home runs than Harper from 2022 to 2023. Rowdy had 48 those 2 years, while Harper had 39. I just thought that was a fun stat. Anyways, we both agreed that Bryce Harper moves on. Let's move on to round 2. To kick off round 2, we have Freddie Freeman versus Spencer Torkelson. Another clear choice, Freddie Freeman easily moves on. Freeman was better in every way last season besides home runs, but this is still an easy choice. And while you guys selected Ty France or Spencer Torkelson back in round 1, we both agreed that Freddie Freeman would advance regardless, so another point for the agreements. A very intriguing matchup between Triston Casas and Vladdy here. In Casas' first full season, he put up very good numbers, getting on base a ton and putting up solid power. Vladdy had better counting stats in more games, while Casas put up better rate stats in less. While there is a valid argument to advance Casas here, I still have to go Vladdy due to his potential, and we've seen that he could be a top player in the game. And in the followers bracket, you guys also advanced Vladdy to the quarterfinals. A battle between 2 NL Central first basemen here, we have Rhys Hoskins versus Paul Goldschmidt. Comparing each of their most recent seasons, Goldschmidt has the edge. Not to mention, Goldie won MVP 2 seasons ago. I'm going to advance Goldie here, just like you guys. Surprisingly interesting matchup between Josh Naylor and Pete Alonso. Last season, Naylor's average was a full point higher and got on base much more. That gave Naylor a higher OPS and OPS plus. However, Alonso slugged nearly 50 home runs and has been great for longer. As much as I would like to advance Naylor here, I still think Alonso is the better player. You guys also chose Pete over Rizzo, so we're going to agree on this one as well. Matt Olson versus Jeimer Candelario is an easy choice as Olson clears Candy in pretty much every offensive category. They're both having slow starts, but Olson is still a pick as I think he will return to form soon. No surprise, we are on the same page here. With Christian Walker and Nathaniel Lowe, you're getting 2 really solid first basemen. Both play a ton of games, get on base, and are solid offensively. However, Christian Walker is definitely the better player between the two, as he hits for more power, plays great defense, and a higher OPS. You guys also selected Christian Walker here. Next up, we have Yandy Diaz facing off the Pasquatch. I think Vinny's a great player and is a great piece of a surprising Royals team, but the season Yandy just had makes him the easy choice. He is struggling to start, but I'm confident he will turn it around. You guys chose Yandy to advance over Cronenworth, so we're going to be on the same page for this one. Final matchup for round 2, and we have Ryan Mountcastle versus Bryce Harper. This one's insanely easy as Ryan Mountcastle is a great player, but is nowhere near the level of Bryce Harper. There's a reason why Harper was given a contract worth over $300 million. Of course, you guys also advanced Harper. Now, let's go over the quarterfinals. Beginning the quarterfinals, we have a rematch of the finals in my 2022 first baseman poll, Freddie Freeman versus Vladimir Guerrero Jr. At the time, a very young Vladdy won, but Vladdy has not replicated his insane 2021 season, while Freddie is seemingly somehow improving as time goes on. In 2023, Freddie was better than Vladdy in almost every offensive category, including having a WAR 4.5 points higher. Statistically, Vlad had an impossible task to be better than Freeman, and you guys agreed that Freeman is the better player. Goldie versus P is a very difficult matchup. It's not hard to ignore that Goldie's numbers at the plate decreased significantly after his MVP season, while Alonso lacked the on-base production, but he made up for it with his strong power. On paper, comparing Goldie and Pete's 2023 seasons, there's arguments for both. If you want a recent MVP with more on base skills and average, Paul's your pick. If you want a player who hits for a ton of power, tons of RBIs, then Alonso's your pick. It's such a tough choice, but due to Goldie's declining production and Alonso starting 2024 off strong, I'm going to disagree with you guys and select Pete Alonso to move on to the semifinals. Christian Walker is a tremendous first baseman who's having a great start to 2024, but unfortunately his run is going to come to an end here as Matt Olson is the better first baseman. They have similar skill sets, but right now Olson's just a tier above Walker. Olson has much better on base skills, he hit an absurd 54 home runs last season and nearly doubled Walker's WAR total. You guys also selected Olson to advance over Walker. The final quarterfinals matchup is very interesting as we have Yandy Diaz versus Bryce Harper. Statistically, Yandy Diaz was actually better than Harper in nearly all categories last season. Yandy Diaz was such a great player in 2023, but Harper was recovering from a rare Tommy John surgery for a hitter. When Bryce Harper's on the field, he's elite, and I think he has more upside. Yandy is struggling so far in 2024, which makes the choice even more obvious for me to agree with you guys. I will be advancing Bryce Harper to move on to the semifinals. So the semifinals are set. We have Freddie Freeman versus Pete Alonso and Matt Olson versus Bryce Harper. We only disagreed on one semifinalist as I chose Pete Alonso to move on instead of Paul Goldschmidt. Anyways, let's start the semifinals. And to start, we have Freddie Freeman versus Pete Alonso. Similar to Paul Goldschmidt, Freeman gets on base and has a great average. However, Freeman does those at an elite level compared to Goldschmidt. And comparing Freeman to Alonso, it isn't close. Despite Pete hitting 46 home runs compared to Freddie's 29, Freeman's slugging percentage was actually .60 higher. Freddie Freeman is such a nasty player and he is easily moving on to the finals, as you guys also chose him to advance to the finals. Man, it sucks that one of Matt Olson or Bryce Harper has to miss the finals. If we're comparing last season, Matt Olson was 100% better. If the NL wasn't so stacked, he would have won the MVP. Comparing their last couple seasons, Bryce Harper has better rate stats. It's such a tough pick, but what Harper struggles at is availability. He is injury prone and is struggling to play over 130 games. The last time he played over 130 games was his 2021 MVP season, while Matt Olson consistently plays over 150 games every season. Because of that, I think Olson slightly beats him out, which means we agree on our finalists. Freddie Freeman versus Matt Olson. What a finals matchup. I genuinely believe there are valid arguments for each player. Let's talk about the strengths of Freeman first. Freeman has been in the league for over a decade and has consistently been a top first baseman. Freeman gets on base at an elite level where it's constantly near the 400 mark. He plays nearly every game, where 2017 is the last time he didn't play over 155 games, excluding the COVID season, where he played all 60 games anyways. He is everything you want in a first baseman. Now looking at Matt Olson, he too possesses the skill of playing a ton of games, as 2019 was the last time he missed the 155 game mark. Olson has become a huge home run threat, mashing 54 bombs last year while still getting on base a ton. He drove in an MLB leading 139 RBIs last year. He's incredible. This is such a tough choice. You guys selected Freddie Freeman as the best first baseman in baseball. And I'm going to, drumroll please, agree with you guys. Freddie Freeman has been elite for much longer and is not slowing down at all. In fact, he's my favorite player who's not on the Mariners. Freddie Freeman is definitely the best first baseman in my eyes. So that does it for this video. In total, there was 31 matchups and we only disagreed on 4 of them. We'll be keeping track of those totals as the series goes on. Let me know what you guys thought of my choices in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe as this will help the start of my YouTube journey. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time where we'll be going over my second base tournament. See y'all later.